Hi, I am here to talk to you today about episode 205, which is this was a hard one to find the title for. It was called Striking Out in the end, and there's a lot of debate over what that title should be. And I can still remember at the when we did the second season table read, we it was one of these ones where it was just titled without a title rather than saying untitled, because I still like to include the words with or out or dad in every title. So it was just called without a title for a very long time. I remember Kelly Marie Murtha, who is of course in this episode, she was the one who suggested striking out. So I remember I wrote that down on this cover of the script. I thought, well, that's a possibility. And I didn't love it at the time, but I kind of hummed and hawed about it, and I thought, all right, if I don't think of another one, then that's what I'll go with. But by the time it came to like shooting it and then editing it and then releasing it, by that point I had fallen in love with the name. So there's no way we're going to think of something better than Striking Out. So I'm being joined right now by a bunch of people from around the world, as these are the patrons of Out with Dad. So big ups and big thanks to you guys for supporting Out with Dad, and thank you to everyone who's watching this not live, who are great supporters of Out with Dad in all other ways, such as sharing the show, or maybe thinking about becoming a patron, or maybe you've donated in the past. The show, it can't be done without you. So here we go. This episode begins with actually, it's very rare for Out with Dad to have lens flares, but this one, it kind of just happened this way. We got a beautiful song here by Late July, who is certainly a favorite of the show, of the series, and this scene was shot with a Canon 5D Mark II. It's the first time we used this kind of camera. It was lent to the production by a friend of a friend of a friend sort of thing, because this camera, it handles low light a lot better than the cameras that we normally use. So there's no lighting here. In fact, I was really impressed by how much light the cell phone itself just cast. Now, in the background, there is the CN Tower. You would have been able to see it very briefly before the focus pulled. And I kind of wish I remember the next day after we shot this was the day that the CN Tower was turned orange, and that was in honor of Jack Layton, who was a politician who passed away that week. So it was a very sort of, it was a sad day. He was the opposition leader he was the leader of the New Democratic Party, and he's a huge supporter, a champion of LGBT rights, among many other great things. I mean, he's just an incredible person, and so I was very, very sad when he passed away. And I kind of wished that we were filming the next day, because then we would have had that orange there in the background. So some very sleuthy fans of Out with Dad have noticed this, but indeed this is my house, and that is the same front door as you will later in season 3 you'll recognize it from. It becomes Nathan and Rose's house because they had to move, but you'll notice it's a very different layout because we'd done a lot of renovations after this scene was shot, and but I was kind of hoping no one would notice, because it is the same couch, and I think it's even the same color walls, but anyway, I was hoping no one would notice because it's the only time we actually see Kenny's house in the series. This was the first day of production of season 2, and it was also the first time I ever got to work with Laura Jabaley, who she was just super awesome. When I first cast, I was always going to avoid casting Alicia, and you may have heard me speak about this before. I always thought that Alicia was going to be like this mystery person that we would never see, where they would just talk about how gorgeous she is and all that kind of stuff. And it was going to be like real hush hush. Like, I was just going to keep her invisible, kind of like how in Frasier, Niles' wife Maris is just never seen. I don't know. I always thought that was funny. So I was going to do that with Alicia, but then this episode came along, and I just kind of like wrote myself into a corner where I had to show Alicia. So here I am showing Alicia, and so we cast Laura, and she was just so awesome that I then felt like I had to write more for her. So like Asking at Alicia, the earlier episode got written after this. We shot it much later, and a bunch of basically every other scene of this season that you see with Alicia was written after we shot this because I just liked working with her so much. And of course, she's gone on to become an associate producer of the show, and she's just super awesome. Now, I remember when we were filming the scenes, actually, it's coming up scenes. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But when Nathan is talking to Kenny on the phone later on, Will was actually in the room for that. Now, this scene was shot on an entirely different day, and it was it's at yeah, so I think it was way after the fact. And so we had to it's so weird for actors when, like, Will is talking to I don't even know who was off camera reading lines for him, and then weeks later we're filming this scene with Kelly Marie, and Will was on set that day, so he was able to re-perform his performance for her there, so they could talk together. Then it's a matter of editing together. So sort of a weird mind job there, eh? Yeah, so this bar is it's called Remarks Pub. It's a really nice pub there here in Toronto, in the East End of Toronto, and they were really kind. They've let us, actually, it's where we've done our table reads in their back room there, and we filmed it quite a bit, including the bathroom. The very first time that Rose meets Claire, who was untitled in the earlier episode, it was in the bathroom of this bar, even though it was standing in for the bathroom at the high school. Oh, Nathan, you keep screwing up.
I am really striking out.
I loved all the art direction that my friend Liz Hodgson did. She put in all those really cool things in the background there, and it kind of inspired the idea that that Kenny's parents are real hippies, and they must explore the world, and they see all sorts of different things, and they've been collecting things. And so I feel like he's a very worldly person, which is why it's kind of sad that he hasn't really in season 3 he hasn't really pursued very much of that. This shot here is actually a special effects shot. It was inspired by a scene from the movie, oh my god, what's it called? Children of Men. That movie, there's a great scene there where all the action is happening way in the background, and I just wanted to I was homaging that shot, and of course in that movie it was a very big long take, but I'm cutting back to these guys here. But in the shot there with Rose, it's a locked off shot, and we actually had to get the boom mic much closer to Kenny and Alicia. So we actually was holding the boom right into the shot, and it was okay to do that because we knew that we were going to be that it was a locked off shot. So I actually used empty information. We did a background plate with no actors, no boom, and then just superimposed it on top to basically erase the boom pole. The big kiss. This is Ella Dad's first heterosexual kiss. And I can remember some of the fans, when they saw this episode, they were super upset. They're like, why are you doing this? Why, this show's so boring right now? I'm like, all kisses are special.
I should go. No.
Funny story. So Corey and Laura, they were, both very professional actors, and one of the things that actors are sure to do is they when there's a kissing scene, they make sure that their breath is fresh. They'll brush their teeth beforehand. They'll make sure that everyone's comfortable and clean, all that stuff.
Yeah, she is.
But they became very comfortable. I mean, they've only met a few times before we shot this scene. And then we ended up ordering pizza with garlic and onions. And then they were like, whatever. And then they were like trying to basically gross each other out to see who could have the worst breath ever. And so anyway, that's actually what was happening on set that day. It was pretty funny. A lot of people say they were surprised to hear Rose swear in an upcoming scene, and it's not the first time Rose has sworn. I mean, I kind of always prided the fact that Ed Dad is a show where the teenagers, they swear just like real teenagers do. And so, anyways, this is not the first time Rose has sworn on or anyone else has sworn. Yeah. So anyway. That shot there of Rose, I remember that slowed us down so much because we had to, just to get that shot, which was really important, it meant an entire relighting situation. And so it took another hour just to get that shot. Now, I'm really happy with how that dissolve turned out. I think that this episode, this scene wasn't planned for this episode. I think it was going to be in the next episode. I don't actually really remember exactly where it was supposed to be. I just remember it wasn't written to be a part of this episode, but it just felt like this episode needed another beat. And I also felt like because of the way I was sort of reorganizing things, and the next episode is 206 and we're leading up to the P flag thing. I just didn't want to leave the Vanessa storyline hanging, so I think that's why I moved it to here. And then that dissolve was just a very happy accident that Vanessa's face and Rose's face sort of lined up. Robert Nolan here, he is a fixture in the Toronto web series community scene. He's in almost every web series that's ever been shot in Toronto. He's a really funny guy. He does do a wide range of things. And I know he's very proud to be in the show because a lot of the things, he ends up being in a lot of horrors and sort of creepy roles. And so to be able to play someone who, well, actually a lot of people interpret him to have no backbone at all, but that wasn't what I was going for. But that it's interesting how, like, the feedback from the audience, it does change how you want to move forward with people. If anything, it's not that he didn't have no backbone. It's just like, he didn't want to contradict in front of the other parent, because that's it's not something you want to do. Great. He's giving great reaction shots. I'm so impressed.
It's for your own good.
Now, I think it's the upcoming shot there where I wanted to close the scene on a wide shot here, and of course it's very obvious that Jacob is not actually eating. He's just pretending to eat. I didn't think he knew that we were running. Fans noticed that in the in the comments. They mentioned that. So that is episode, written by, I forgot, yes, my friend Devin co-wrote some of the scenes there. So she actually has a written with credit there in the writing. I'm trying to remember what scenes it was that she helped me out on. Which scenes would it have been? I'll have to think about that. I'm going to have to ask her. So anyway, so that is episode 206. I remember being really, or sorry, 205, striking out. I remember being really, really proud of this one and how it turned out. And I think it's at the time we made this was the longest episode that we had shot. So it kind of proved to me once again, when I first started making this series, it was always the rule of making a web series was always that episodes should never be more than 5 minutes, and it just, you guys kept proving that wrong over and over and over again, because you wanted longer episodes. In fact, every time we made an episode, often the first comments would be, why is it so short, or why can't it be longer? If you ever have questions, throw them in the comments and I'll try and answer them. It is me that maintains all the comments and responses and everything. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great day. And be sure to share the show, like, subscribe, all that stuff if you haven't already, and visit our Patreon page to check out how we're doing there. We're getting closer and closer to our next milestone. Bye.